Now, I wouldn't say I'm like a huge solo gamer. In fact, I kind of really thought at one point that I just wasn't, that I just didn't enjoy games alone. And then a very particular game, which is my number one, kind of came around. And when it released, I finally found a solo game that I just absolutely adored. And it helped me kind of try more games out solo. And so over the course of this whole last year, I've really discovered a couple of ones that really shine for me, and I have tried dozens, so many not working for me. But these are the few that have really stuck around. So I'm going to start with my first pick. It is going to be Rolling Realms by Stonemaier Games. Rolling Realms is a wonderful little game. It is one of the only roll and writes that I actually enjoy as well, so kind of a dual use there. There is actually an official solo mode called it's called Rolling Golf or something like that, something with golf themed. I actually don't do that. I literally just play the game. And if you don't know how this game works, you basically just roll 2 dice. You get 2 numbers. You have 3 realms. You get to use a number in one of those realms, but you can't use both numbers in the same realm. And they're all little mini puzzles, like Tapestry is like a spatial puzzle. Oh yeah, and all of the realms are based off of other Stonemaier games. And then they also have all these other games added as well now, just kind of as promo packs. You can gain resources like coins, pumpkins, and hearts in order to use special abilities to change the dice rolls. But at the end of the day, you're just trying to solve all of these puzzles and best use these numbers. And really, this game is just kind of therapeutic for me. It's so easy to just roll the dice, add some numbers, and basically just do a little puzzle. It takes really, really quick, and I enjoy it quite a bit. And the thing is that one session of this game, you go through 9 different realms, because each round you're basically doing 3 realms, and you do a total of 3 rounds, and then you add up the score that you were able to get, all of the stars that you were able to collect, which, by the way, each realm allows you to collect a maximum of 6 stars. But then you collect all of the stars, you add up all your resources that you had left over, and you add those up for all 3 rounds, and then at the end you have a total score. And honestly, I'm just trying to beat myself with this. I don't do the golf thing. The golf thing didn't really work for me, but just playing it alone, looking at my score and being like, man, I did a good job today, or oh man, I did not do that well. It is so much fun. So that's going to be Rolling Realms by Stonemaier Games as my first pick. Now my next pick is going to be a little bit bigger, and I forgot to grab it off the shelf, so I'm going to be pulling it off the shelf right here. This one is going to be Gaia Project. Now, the thing about Gaia Project, if you don't know, is that it is a very complex game. And the reason why it is on this list is because this is a game that I am finally able to enjoy solo. I can play more Gaia Project, and I don't have to teach anybody new to play it with me, and I can explore all these different faction combinations. And it's really, really great. The solo mode is really well done. It's actually run by an Atoma system, so it's going to be, a deck of cards, and you're going to be flipping them over, seeing what actions the bot will essentially do. And honestly, the AI works very, very similar to a real life player when they're playing that faction. Honestly, a little bit, better at sometimes, because it's a robot. It's kind of always doing what it needs to be doing. And since there isn't a huge amount, like an astronomically large amount of player interaction within Gaia Project already as is, the game really does feel really good at a solo player count. One thing I also like is that there's these individual solo cards that you can add in order to give the AI a little bit of flavor depending on the faction that they're playing, and they really do play differently depending on what cards you give them, basically what faction they're going to be playing. And so this just really gave me another chance to play more Gaia Project, which is just awesome. This is one of my favorite games. It is so deep, it is so rich, and there's so much strategy. And I've just been able to get better at the game by playing against this AI and comparing my scores. So my second pick is going to be Gaia Project. What a stellar game. I'm going to put it back on the shelf because it's just so big. And next up, we have Imperial Settlers Empires of the North. This is one of my favorite engine building games ever. And basically what they do is the solo version of this is kind of these different little scenarios. And these scenarios give you special rules that you have to follow throughout the game. And then you're kind of trying to target to get a certain number of fame points. This is really, at the end of the day, just a engine building game, like I said. Each faction is completely unique. You're going to be playing cards into a tableau, and then you're going to be activating those abilities to gain more resources, to gain victory points. The base game of Empires of the North came with 4 scenarios. However, I got Wrath of the Lighthouse, and now I can play even more Empires of the North, which is awesome because it's another one of my favorite games, and this is so good. It's so fun because it has little stories as well within it. So as you do certain actions, you can read little segments in a campaign book that has an overarching story. It's not a super complex story. It's really, really simple. It's kind of funny. Definitely don't take it too seriously, but it's a really great excuse to just play more Empires of the North, which, why wouldn't I want to do that? I just love this game so much. This solo mode feels pretty similar to just playing the game like normal, and I feel like I'm getting better with the factions. I think you'll find that it's kind of funny because I like playing a lot of these types of solo games because I can practice with a faction for a multiplayer game, but I am finding other enjoyment too. I'm not just practicing to get better. I'm genuinely finding fun in finding these strategies over and over and getting more plays in. But yeah, Wrath of the Lighthouse, this was a perfect additional buy on top of Empires of the North to add a ton more. I think it adds 15 more scenarios. I was able to play through the campaign once so far, and I want to do it again with a different faction. So really, really good excuse to play more Empires of the North. It's a great game and wonderful, wonderful solo game. Good engine builder. All right, and number 4th on my list is one that I don't think anybody is expecting. This is going to be Nevsky. Now, this is a game that I discovered because of my friend, Fred, who actually has a wonderful YouTube channel. I'm going to link it down below. I'm always going to be sending people over to Fred. He's one of my favorite people. He's such a nice human. And he got me into the wargaming scene of board gaming because I couldn't really find anything like Root. And he kind of just pulled me out of this box of thinking that there was no other types of games out there and that wargaming was, just not that great. Now I've got quite a few war games. I've been adding them to my collection. There's the Coin series, which is what Root was based off of. But then there's this other series that the same designer of the Coin series made called Levy and Campaign. I've actually got both Nevsky, I've also got Almoravid, and then I've got the new one coming out on order. But this is the first in the series of Levy and Campaign. And this game is absolutely wonderful. Essentially, you're going to be playing the Rus or the Teutons, and you are going to be having a battle. Now, here is the thing about this game is that it is so much more focused on the economics rather than the war itself. And so planning out, your army's sleds in order to travel on the snow or the wagons to carry your food, you need that food and supplies. You've got to also be careful about making sure that your commanders are not going to retire before they do what you need them to do on the battlefield, because that's the thing is you have to levy these commanders and then you have to send them on campaigns, but they're not going to campaign forever. They might die or they might be done with their term and then you have to hire more commanders. It really goes into the logistics of medieval warfare. And I'm a huge freaking nerd for that kind of stuff. So to have Nevsky has just been an absolute blessing. Such a fun game. And when I'm playing this game solo, I'm playing both sides. I'm playing Rus and the Teutons. And I am able to just try to outsmart and outwit myself, which is honestly so much fun. It really works well. I also love this game as a 2-player game. I've actually played with Fred, which, you know what? I'll go ahead and link that playthrough down below because then you can see us play it and kind of get an idea of how this crazy game works. Absolutely gorgeous game. It's been going up higher and higher on my games of all time list too. So definitely be on the lookout. There's probably going to be some more videos on this series of games in the future on this channel, but that is going to be Nevsky as my second most bestest solo game of last year. if you've been around this channel for a bit, I think you might actually already know the answer to this, but this is the first game that has truly changed the way that I see solo gaming forever. This is going to be, oh, it was also my game of the year in 2021. This is going to be Imperium Legends and Imperium Classics. This game is so freaking good. I play this one the most. This is essentially a deck building game that you don't want to always rush through your deck, because every single time you go through your deck cycle, you're going to be adding a card to your deck. And then as you add these cards, eventually when you get through that pile, you go from a barbarian state to an empire state. And you really see the course of your civilization's history play out before your eyes. Eventually, you're going to go through your deck enough times to where you've become that empire. And once you are an empire, when you go through a deck cycle, you can then buy these crazy development cards, which are basically like technologies. And you'll have to pay for those to add them to your deck. And that you can kind of tailor which cards you want in your deck at that time. Now, that's kind of just the core way that all of the factions work, but there are asymmetric factions, especially in this Legends box. Legends has many factions that don't even work like that at all. For example, you might be the Atlanteans in this game, where you actually start off as an empire. You're not a barbarian state. You start off as an empire with all of this power, and you're slowly trying to keep your regions from sinking around you. Or you might play the Arthurians. They never become an empire, and they also don't get any developments or anything like that. They're going to be going on quests throughout the game. They're going to be using Merlin or Morgan Le Fay, which is actually, they like have the original Welsh names in this, which I love how historically accurate. So Morgan Le Fay is actually Moragina, and Merlin is Merlin Wilt. So there's like all of these amazingly cool like historical references. Like it's truly a love of history as much as it is a great game. And you can also play these campaigns, so you can go up against a bot. And by the way, the bot is amazing. It runs so well once you learn it. You can go up against a bot at these different varying levels of difficulty, and then you kind of add your total score. And you can also just play it one-off. You just go up against a unique faction, and every single faction plays so differently. You're just doing a board, you reveal a card, that's their action. You look on a sequence of like a table of types of cards, you see what type of card it is, you do the thing that it says for you to do. If you're playing against different faction, you're just looking at a different table, honestly, but they all operate the same, but they all are so unique. And I get to play one of my favorite games over and over and over and over and over again, and it's so freaking fun. And so that is why Imperium Legends and Classics are just so darn amazing. But enough of me gushing about all of these solo games that I love so dearly. What are some of your favorite solo games? I would love to hear some of your recommendations. You've looked at the list of the games that have really made an impact on me in solo. So if you have any recommendations that you think I might enjoy or maybe I should try out, definitely leave a comment down below. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, please go ahead and subscribe, as well as click that notification bell to see when my next video will drop. But that is it, guys, for my top solo games of last year. Thank you so much for watching. Let's go ahead and drop the beat.